So we're going to talk about SharePoint agents. Originally, I was actually intended to do this last week, but then we announced the knowledge agents, and then we needed to shuffle things and all of that stuff. So I'm going to do the introduction of SharePoint agents today. We're going to do live demos and all of that as well. So let me just take away that one from the recording and doing. Welcome to the introduction of SharePoint agents. So my name is Vesa Juvonen. We're going to talk about what is the latest status of SharePoint agents, what they are, and how they work. Now, this one will be a series, so there will be a series of multiple videos and live demos in this community course where the video is also from. But in this one, we're going to do an introduction. On the following ones, we're going to go a bit more detailed on getting started and adjustments and optimizations on those SharePoint agents as well, and then also on the business scenarios. So we'll link all of those things in the videos as well. Now, we all know that AI is going to transform how we scale, share, and act on our most crucial asset, which is the knowledge. So we've been seeing this within the live demos in the community calls, in many of the live demos in the internet. It's all about the knowledge and information, what we maintain and how we collect and how we use that to then make decisions, or the AI makes decisions based on the business process automation, and then we do something with that. But AI truly is transforming how we're doing things. If we think about the agent concept in general, the agents will increase the discoverability of the data. So rather than you being forced on, for example, in the case of documents, you have to open up many documents and go them through one by one and find the relevant information for you. You can just ask, and the agent is giving you that information. The agents will also scale expertise. So basically, there's information in the files. It doesn't have to be stored in a human mind, so you can actually more efficiently get that information available for you supporting your work. And of course, that then supports decision making, so making that information more easily available, potentially data-driven insights to help streamline decision making and all of that, based on, again, what kind of information you are associating that agent into. Now, within our case, we really want to kind of focus today within this series on the fact that your content, your files, your data and news and resource storage in SharePoint can be actually involve or evolve and make it better with the agent, because the agent is then the powerful large language model which helps you to retrieve the relevant information from that source material. And then, of course, you are in the collaboration. You're the one who's operating the agent based on your business needs and whatever information is relevant for you. And this then drives better business decisions. So it is really the AI is there to make you more efficient and get the relevant information for you more efficiently. Now, if you think about the different scenarios, we might have seen this many times, but really the key point on the agents, there's a lot of different industries and business cases where the agents will help, and it is really there to reallocate the time to higher value tasks. So rather than replacing you, no, you can actually reallocate your time on the higher value task because the information is more faster in your reach. You can complete higher value tasks faster, because again, the information and the agent is supporting you to be more efficient, getting you the information, what is relevant for your decision making and so on. And you can complete more of the same tasks. And that's the repeated processes. If we can automate them, we have more time on the more relevant information and relevant tasks within our day-to-day life. Now, we do have a lot of different agent modes and agent options available from Microsoft, and the SharePoint agents are by far the easiest way to create agents in the Microsoft ecosystem. And I'll show this one in practice today as an introduction, and then within this series of videos and demos within upcoming weeks and also in the YouTube, you can actually deep dive more detailed on the different options. But with SharePoint agents, you can really easily get the insights from your files with few clicks. And we seriously mean with few clicks. As long as you have the licensing or the functionality is enabled, you can just click a button and you are good to go. You have an agent. And you are already being more efficient for accessing the information which you have stored in SharePoint. And since the files and information quite often within the companies are stored in SharePoint, the SharePoint agents will make your life easier. And of course, if the SharePoint agents is not good enough for you, you're able to evolve those scenarios with Copilot Studio Lite and Copilot Studio and even the Azure AI Foundry as needed. Now, if you think about the SharePoint agent scenario, they are really, really easy to do. And the idea here is to democratize agents. So rather than thinking that there is a special group of agent creators who are the specialized IT professionals or developers in Azure side, no. We want to make sure that every single user within the Microsoft 365 can create an agent with a snap of a fingers, or almost like a snap of a fingers, but snap of a mouse click. So you can create agents just by clicking a button directly within the toolbar, because the files are already in Microsoft 365. They're already under the Copilot semantic index and all of that stuff. You don't need to take the files away from SharePoint. You can just create agents directly within a SharePoint and then surface that agent wherever is needed to make your work or your colleagues' work more efficient, accessing the information what is in the files. These agents are super easy to share. We're going to talk about this one today as well. They increase collaboration because you can actually take the agent into a chat or in a team group chat or a team chat. What are those? Channels, team channels, and have a discussion with the agent. So rather than you again being first to go to the files or move away from Teams, you can access this information directly within the Teams in any device, because again the Teams is available in mobile or in tablet or in desktop, so anybody can easily access things, and they are secure by default. So when you create an agent, when you share the agent to somebody else, they can still only see the information which they have access and permission to get access into. So as the content still remains in SharePoint, all of the permissions still apply, unless you explicitly want to have the end user access on information which they don't have access into. So there are options of doing that as well. But if you would actually do it in a way, if you do create this agent in a way that you export the content from a SharePoint to Azure Foundry, or let's say another cloud competitor, you created agent over there, you will lose the permissions, you will lose the security, because information still remained in SharePoint. The SharePoint permissions still apply. The sensitivity labels, all of those still apply. The policies still apply. Content is under the surveillance of Microsoft 365. Now, in a bigger picture, it's always good to understand we have a spectrum of different options when we create those agents. We have the no-code, low-code, and pro-code options. You could argue where the Copilot Studio kind of lands in here, but SharePoint agents are definitely no-code option. You are creating them without any need of understanding what happens behind the scenes. You click a button, and you're good to go with your agent. Now, with Copilot Studio, we have a few different options. You have a Copilot Studio Lite, which is almost like a SharePoint agent scenario, but you are able to configure a bit more on top of the SharePoint agents with the Copilot Studio Lite option, which is available in the Copilot Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. I guess that's the right term. But that's kind of a low-code option as well. Now, Copilot Studio can use absolutely pro-code models and all of that stuff. So you could argue that Copilot Studio spectrum goes all the way until end of pro-code. And then in the pro-code side, we're talking about Azure Foundry. We're talking about Agent Toolkit. So we're really writing code, which is dealing with the incoming request from a user and then using LLM behind the scenes. But for the baseline scenarios, which the most typical scenario is we have set of content, for example, HR guidance, travel documentation, knowledge articles. Me as a user, I want to ask a question related on my HR guidance or my travel policies, or what can I do on certain operational products. For those scenarios where it's based on SharePoint content, for example, documents, we can just use SharePoint agents. So we don't need to necessarily go any further and more complex on this pipeline because we can just select the files which is needed, click a created agent, and we're good to go. Now, what's important to understand kind of in SharePoint, there's two different aspects on SharePoint agents, and this is a bit something what some people seems to be a bit confused. So there's the scoped agent, which is always scoped for SharePoint site. Nowadays, we actually call this as the knowledge agent. The knowledge agent is the site's agent, which is created by default by Microsoft for you. And every single site, as long as you have a Copilot license, have an agent for them, or you can access the site's agent. If you don't have a Copilot license, you cannot access the site's agent. The more important or more interesting piece, at least from my perspective, always has been the tailored for your project agent. So I can select which files and what content from cross-site collections I want to use as the source file and then create an agent from those. So not just the site level thing, because site can contain thousands of files. I can say, no, let's focus on for example, product specification. Let's focus on project deployment details. Let's focus on project management files only within these sections and create an agent out of those. And then I can ask questions which are only specific for those files. The more specific you can create the agents, the more precise the answers will be. The reality comes from the fact that if you think about, some people have been creating this kind of Uber agents, and Uber agents is the one which is reading all of the files within my intranet. Now, if you have petabytes and petabytes of data within your intranet, how would the agent know what your question is targeted into? And that basically means that there's so many options for the agent to answer if you're talking about the scope of petabytes and petabytes. So therefore, it is actually better to think that if you do a specific agent, for example, for project files or HR files and travel policy agent, and expose those within your company, the association of agents' answers will be a smaller subset of documents. So the agent and the LLM doesn't need to kind of think through the petabytes and petabytes and terabytes of information and trying to get you the answer. No, it will give you the answer based on a specific set of files. So that's actually really important to understand as well. Good. So as mentioned, kind of recapping these two different options, every single SharePoint site includes an agent ready to use. Nowadays, after 2 weeks ago, we're calling this as the knowledge agent, which is the out-of-the-box SharePoint agent. It is grounded on SharePoint site. It's basically every single information what is within the site is the grounding source. So when you're asking questions, it will answer based on the files and content within that site. It can be used by every visitor of the site. And it basically is always available, and you can get value immediately. So there's always an agent available within your SharePoint site. And again, the more interesting piece is that you're able to create as many agents as needed as you want to get scoped content what you choose from. And you can customize this. And with customization, what I mean is that you can modify the system prompt as in instructions of the agent, how it should be behaving, what is the expected answer, and all of that stuff. So you can modify the behavior. The site agent or knowledge agent, that's a first-party agent. You cannot modify those instructions. But when you create your own agents from the subset of content, you can modify the behavior. You can even change the branding of it. You can adjust the things as needed for it as well. Now, let's actually just tweaking through how does this happen. This is like super easy. This in a matter of a few clicks. So create an agent scope to select SharePoint content. I will just select the content what I want. I can share the agent via link or add it to the Teams chat. And the people which I'm sharing the agent into are able to access the information within that agent as well, as long as you grant them the access to it or they have permissions to those files already. If you just share the agent, they will not just randomly get access on the files unless you explicitly want them to get access on the files. Again, the security applies because we are in the context of Microsoft 365. And then you can customize the agent brand and behavior, which is an optional fill. So let's walk through those through one more time. Just recapping, you can choose what files, what folders you actually want to do. You can have up to 20 folders or 20 files, which are part of one single agent as a scoped agent for the information. And again, like in the picture shows, you don't have to say whole documents. You can select which of the documents are the ones which are available. Then as you have the agent available, you can share that agent directly via link. You can put the link and share it in the Teams chat. You can share it in somewhere else, or you can put it and engage the agent directly within Microsoft Teams as well. That is definitely a valid option as well. So you can have a discussion with the agent directly in Teams, which again then means that your frontline workers who are using mobile can actually access this information super efficiently. So again, rather than frontline workers being like, I'm on mobile, it's really hard for me to read the documents. You don't have to. You can ask questions directly from agents as part of the sharing of the information. And then you're able to change and modify the agent's brand and behavior. Again, this means that you're able to adjust what is the welcome message, what is the starter prompts. Starter prompts basically means how do we initiate, or what are the example prompts to show the end user how the agent actually works. And then more importantly, you can modify the instruction for the agent. So you're basically able to say something like, hey, you're an HR assistant, behave on this style, answer based on only this information within the source files, expected outcome is blah, 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 blah. So there you can really provide that system prompt in the instruction of agent folder. Good. Let me then go to the UX and let's have a look on how this actually works in practice. So let me chart from here. And this is an imaginary SharePoint site called Solar. We have some Solar information. It is a set of information, a set of files which I've been using in the past also as an example. But in this file, in this site, we have a few different things happening. I'm going to call out some of the capabilities which are relevant for the agents. And then again, in the future demos, we're going to deep dive more efficiently on the different options. First of all, if you have the Copilot license, like we went through on the slides, every single site has an agent in them. And by default, you can access that from that top right corner in here. That is the agent window, and it will open up the knowledge agent. So this is a small change which we introduced pretty recently. Knowledge agent is the default agent for every single site. So now I can start to say something like summarize the recent files, and this is an agent which is out-of-the-box agent coming as part of the site behavior. Now, knowledge agent is a bit more complicated than that. I'll show it in the practice, but again, we initiated the agent, open up the agent panel. I'm able to say summarize recent files, and it will give me the recent file entry and explaining what the files are and what are the recent updates within the files and all of that stuff. Yeah, kind of cool, but it really focuses on the site level. Now, what else do we have on the agent world? We also pretty recently introduced the knowledge agent as a floating thing in the lower right corner. So this is floating in here. Let me actually change that color to green. So this is floating in here. And then when you click it, it will show you context-aware menu on the different agent options which are available, including the summarize this page option, which I just actually initiated manually. But you also have capabilities and actionable things like improve the site, which is an out-of-the-box agent within the knowledge agents, which will make things available, or you can start creation of the page directly from here. Now, if I go to another location within the site with the knowledge agents being enabled, so I will go to site content, and I will go to documents. We can actually, and let me actually go to panel estimates, and let me go to completed installation project. So this is a complete installation project plans for my solar panel projects. And now I can say something in open up the knowledge agent. We can see actually new things because we are in a document library. It option provides us new actions available. Again, these are first-party actions available, but it relates on this agent behavior. There are actions which are coming from the knowledge agent, and they provide functionalities like organize this library, which then actually analyzes the files which are available. And then, for example, I can do create columns. We're going to have a separate demo on this one pretty soon, but it analyzes the files and what is available, and then it suggests AI-generated content and all of that within the files which we have. Again, out-of-the-box agent which is available. Now, in our case, we're not going to do that. Let's cancel, leave that anyway. Now, one more thing what I wanted to show you about in the context of agents before we go actually to a one SharePoint agent is that the agents, how we can access the agents, again, we can access them from the knowledge agents directly. We can access them from the agent panel, and in the agent panel, we can actually see all of the available agents available from that drop-down window. So these are the agents which are available within this site already created. Or we can actually start using our agent web part. Now I need to actually remember what's the right agent link web part. I think that's the right name of that. So I will put the page into edit mode. Here's a web part which is called agent link web part, and what it means is that it's basically an agent link. I can say what is the look and feel of that web part. I can say large, and what happens when a user clicks that web part. And in our case, it's going to open up this custom agent, which is a SharePoint agent already in the site. So now let me republish, just showing you. Because I don't think we have announced and shown this one too much yet, but that's a new web part which is available. So when I click that one, it will actually open up the associated agent directly in the panel, and I'm in the project drafter agent in this case. Okay. What is Project Drafter Agent? Let's go and have a look on this one a bit more detailed, and then we deep dive in another sessions within this series a bit more detailed on all of the different options which have on SharePoint Agents as well. So let me go to the document library and here, and let me go to Solar Panel. I think Estimates would be the right one, and there we have the Project Drafter Agent. So this is something which has been created already in the past. But again, how it was created is nothing more than selecting a folder. In this case, it's completed installation project plans. We can actually create one agent here quickly because it takes 2 seconds. Create that folder. There's files in that folder. I want to create an agent from that files and that folder, create an agent, and I'm all good to go. I can actually open the agent and I can start having a discussion with the agent, and now the agent is completed. There's now a one agent available, which is called Completed Installation Project Plans agent, which I can start already using. And it's associating itself to the files which are behind of that folder. And now I can come here, let me zoom in a bit, and say something like, do we have any projects which were done in California? I can ask questions, and based on, again, on the files, it is then able to give me answers based on my intent. And in this case, it was an agent which was created based on the installation projects. I'm asking, do we have any projects where we were done in California? It will run through all of those files. It will use the semantic search, and it will basically do the analyzing of the outputs, and then it will give me the answer directly based on the file content. So I, as an end user, let me zoom in out a bit. I, as an end user, I don't need to go to the specific files. I can basically say, that was really cool. I can see that we have these different projects available from California and Sun Valley, and those projects were available in Santa Barbara. And you can clearly see also the reference point as well. So I'm like, that's really cool. Yes, the Martinez project was really good. Let me actually have a look on a bit more detailed on that file, and we have a link to the source file in the agent as well. And that's it. A really, really cool capability. And now I'm able to access that information directly within the Word. But again, making it super, super easy for me to consume the information which I have already accessed. We do not expose any additional things outside what user has to have access on this information, with certain exceptions, which I'm going to show in upcoming slides. But again, next time within the series, we're going to deep dive a bit more on different options, configuration, sharing of files, using the files in Teams and all of that, but that's in another demo. We didn't want to deep dive on things. I didn't want to have too much stuff in this demo because, well, we would always run out of time. So let's do that within a week or so. Now, a few things just to call out. The agents are actually files. So you can actually share the link to that agent file super easily for anybody to get access. And then that means that they can easily find the file, they can access the file, you can copy the file. There's multiple ways you can access the file. It is just a definition of the agent. The actual logistics and LLM and information is not within that agent file. That agent file is just a definition of what is an agent and how it should be behaving. It inherits existing security settings and all of the sensitivity settings. So the agent itself actually have also security settings and sensitivity settings available. And of course, if you have permissions on it, you can access that. If you don't have a permission on it, you cannot access the agent. So it's as simple as that. It works like any other file. Now, we can scope the information within the agent. We're going to talk about that one in the future demos as well, up to 20 different locations. There's a cap of 20 sites, folders, or files. So if you have more than 20 files, you want to put them in a folder, and then you're able to actually group them logistically in this kind of a buckets where the answer should be then provided. You can also associate multiple site collections, multiple locations. So you can move kind of have sources from multiple sites and site collections. So it's not only from this site. You can combine information from HR side and then some other sites to actually provide you the ultimate travel agent, which will give you insights on travel policies and so on. And then really, really important thing, it is actually aware of the oversharing. We're going to do live demos on this one, as mentioned, in the future demos on the agents as we deep dive on the SharePoint agents in the series. But if you are sharing an agent, for example, in a Teams chat with the people who don't have access on the source files, we will explicitly ask you, do you want still the answers to be available? So that the end user takes responsibility. Agents and the systems and AI will never answer and show any restricted or security information which the user would not have access to. Now, if you explicitly want to have access for the end users in a team chat, for example, you can override, but we give you this clear UX, and we're going to show that one in future demos, as mentioned, how it actually works when you're doing this in Microsoft Teams. But that's it from my side for introduction on SharePoint agents. And again, we'll deep dive more on this in the future series. And there's a blog, there's a video, explainer video, internet podcast. There's a lot of other stuff and assets available on SharePoint agents. They are a bit more complicated or more advanced when people might actually think that. They're incredibly valuable. When you do any agents based on the files and documents, please don't get the files out from SharePoint. Create directly agents using SharePoint agents or Copilot Studio agents associated directly from SharePoint. So you have the permissions and security applied properly. But that's it for me today.